Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. Now, I set myself a challenge to design a box which would only use one sheet of 6x6 designer series paper. I'm all for stretching my supplies to minimise waste. These papers are from the Inked and Tiled Botanical 6x6 inch designer series pack, and I'm going to be using this pattern. And to make the labels, I'm using the TaylorMade Tags dies. This is the box we're making. I've not put designer series papers on the side, just only on the front lid, back of the lid, and this bit here. I'm also using the Lost Lagoon bordered ribbon and some Baker's Twine. This is from the Baker's Twine Essentials pack, which has 5 spools, and I'm going to be using the very vanilla one. And some basic rhinestone jewels. And the subtle Stamp and Write markers, and out of that set I'm using Lost Lagoon and Calypso Coral. One piece cut at 9.5 by 5 3/4. Keep these pieces, you might need them later. Correction, this larger piece for the box lid and base should be 9 1/4 by 5 3/4. Bring in the scoreboard, and the larger piece on the long side at the top you score at 2 inches, 5 1/4 inches and 7 1/4 inches. So in metric that will be 5 centimeters, 13.5 and 18.5 centimeters. Rotate your cardstock so that the short side is at the top, and you score at 2 inches and 5 1/4 inches. Okay, and in metric that will be 5 centimeters and 13.5 centimeters. Then for the box front and base, you want to cut that at 5 3/4 inches, which is here, and then this way you cut that at 7 1/4. So in metric that will be 14.5 by 18.5 centimeters. And then you need some very vanilla cardstock to die cut the tag. Use the scrap to cut a second tag. Now we move on to the box front and base. So with the long side at the top, you score at 2 inches and 5 1/4 inches. And in metric that's 5 centimeters and 13.5 centimeters. Rotate the cardstock so that the short side is at the top, and you score at 2 inches and 5 1/4 inches. And in metric that will be 5 centimeters and 13.5 centimeters. Burnish all the score lines. Now orient your cardstock so that the short side is facing you and the narrow panel is on your left, and you just want to cut away the square at the top and just cut straight across to the right of the score line. So basically now with your narrow score line on the right, you've taken away that square. With the narrow score lines still on your right, cut up that little rectangle to the left of the score line and make an angle cut there, so that piece is now gone. On the next score line up, you just want to cut a little V shape Okay. Now the rectangle at the very top, you want to cut straight down and then cut a little angle. So now it looks like that. So this bit up here will be where the lid is, and this is your bottom base. So you want to cut on either side of that score line, straight up to the first score line, and just remove this piece here. Now we want to cut the box base and front with your narrow margin on the left. Again, cut straight up to the first score line and just make a snippet here at an angle. Make a V-shaped cut, a next one along, just like that. Okay, and cut the tiny sliver here. So now it looks like this. Now with the narrow margin on the left, you want to cut up to the first score line on either side of this bottom score line. Lift that up and remove this piece. So the box front and base should look like this. Now on this little square here, this is going to be the roof of your box. To bring the scoreboard back in, and short side on top, narrow margin on the right. You just want to mark it at 1 inch. Okay, line up the stylus where that 1 inch mark is, and swivel the cardstock to the right so that this first score line here is in line with your 6 inch score line here. Okay, I've marked that 6 inch score line with a white marker pen so that it will stand out a bit more. So you've made a diagonal line there, but put that up to the 6 inch score line here, move it down a bit and swivel it so that the top bit of the 1 inch mark hits the 6 inch score line, and you score from there up to the top. So you basically made a triangular score. Alright, and you repeat with this larger piece, which is the lid piece. So again, fold that down, the lid down, and then butt it up to the corner so you can mark that square at the 1 inch mark. Right, then move it along and repeat the process. Swivel, six-inch mark, put your stylus in the groove, drag it down, swivel, 1 inch mark, score up. Now I know this punch has retired, but you need a corner rounder, and if you have one, then corner round your lid like I've done here. I just forgot to press record. Now you want to join up the pieces. So you join up the large piece, so put a bit of adhesive here. Now you can either use adhesive or double-sided tape. I think I will use double-sided tape. I'm going to put it on here, right across. Remove the tape. Bend that back do it this way and make sure it's accurate and the score lines line up at the bottom. Okay, and you want to put double-sided tape on this side as well, so make sure that you're putting the double-sided tape on the right side. Now set that aside, and I want to cut my designer series paper. This box has been sized so that it is 3¼ inches square. Then I only need a 3-inch piece of designer series paper. So line that up at 3 inches. And the first one is 3 inches, which will go on there. So in fact that's the back. So I want the front, so the front is here. So let's put that one there. And you have to be mindful where the pattern is going. So this is the lid, and I want the pattern to continue on the lid. So I want to cut this piece from the continuation of that piece, okay? Because the flap, this is the continuation of the pattern, so this is the corner you want to round off the bottom to match the lid. So let's stick that on first. Now I need to punch a hole, and I want to find the center of this panel here. So let's put it up there, and it's roughly around there. So it's 1 1/2, 1 1/2. So let's put a pencil mark there. Can rub it off in a minute. Then I can punch a hole on either side as far as the crocodile will go in. And now that I've punched the hole, I can remove the tape, join the box together. So press that down, move that over, and join the box together. Okay. So now that's the front. So I want to glue this piece of paper on the front there. Bring in my glue. And pop it on, leaving a 1/4 inch border all round. Okay, now I'm going to glue the base of the box. So this is the last one because this is the front. So I want to put these flaps down. Glue on here, that goes on the front. Make sure that's secure. And then this one last. Now pinch the sides and pop that over so I can mark it. Now I've punched my hole, but I had to use my big crocodile, this one, in order to do it because it was too far down. I realised afterwards that actually I've cut the base piece too big, and so therefore the lid on this is a little bit wider. And because of the mistake I made, I had to use my big crocodile to die cut punch the hole, but I've made another template with the correct size, which was 9¼ inches instead of 9½. When you come to punching the holes, glue the designer series paper on first, then go from the side and punch your hole. Then once your box is assembled, put that down and draw a pencil line where these holes are. Then you can slip your crocodile in there and punch out the holes for your ribbon. Now take the other half of the 6x6 sheet of designer series paper. You want to cut off the bottom at 3 inches, so it's 3 inches square. Now you want this piece to continue on from there, so glue that onto the back of the lid. Be 1 3/4. And then it all follows on. Now you want to thread your ribbon from the front through to the back, just on this bottom bit, and then thread it to the front again from the back. Make sure that they are even. Just going to trim that bit off so that it's not so ragged. And then you want to thread that, put whatever stuff you want in there. They'll fit those mini bars of chocolate candy, the bite-sized pieces, or even a jar of hand cream. So thread it through that hole. Tie a knot. Okay. Turn it upside down, make a loop. Take this piece on the right, go round the back of your loop, put it through the hole there, and then just tie it. For the tags, I use the second largest one, and I cut one in Lost Lagoon and one in Very Vanilla, so I'll do that off camera. Die cut my labels. Now I'm going to do a bit of stamping with this flower here, and I want it two-tone, that's why I'm using the markers. Ink it up with Calypso Coral first for the flower heads, using the flat of the brush so that it doesn't damage the tip. Just going to use a chamois to clean off any ink that's gone over to the stem. Swap markers to Lost Lagoon and ink up this bit here. I'm going to stagger the dimensionals because I'm going to put it at an angle. Marry up the holes, just pop it on like that. Then grab some rhinestones and put one here. Cut up some baker's twine in Very Vanilla. Thread it through in a loop like that. Then put this end through. take one bit and thread it through like so. So it's actually going through the loop in the ribbon, and then just tie a double knot. Loosely so. And there you have it. A box completed using the ink and tiled stamps and the inked and tiled botanical papers. That's how it should be done, but I made a little mistake there, so that's why the lid is wider here, but it should be this one. So if you have any questions and need clarification, just pop a comment below the video, but I think I've covered the mistake I made, so I hope it's all makes sense. Thanks for watching. Bye.